holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Happy
Let
Hanukkah.
Hanukkah, all that good stuff,
All of whatever it is. Yeah.
and whatever else that you deem good in the world. Okay.
Mm, mm, mm.
Hank and I are we're going to try our best to convey a few things to you guys in hopes that this will make you better.
And if you don't get better, I will feel better by getting it off my chest. Are you in a situation where sometimes you just got to get something off your chest?
Yep.
Now, it doesn't mean that it's offensive. It's just every now and so often you just got to get it off your chest. And I think we're close to the end of the year, and I've seen we've talked about a lot of stuff. We've seen a lot of stuff. We've planned a lot of stuff that will help people to get out of their own way if they will only push the button.
Whew. All right, let's get right into it.
Okay, sir.
Um, and so Hank, I got a question for you. What have you noticed with people's actions during the holiday season?
Oh, ooh. Can I get it off my chest? Okay. A couple weeks ago, we talked about Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and all that other stuff. Okay. And those events happen for people to spend money for Christmas. That's the only reason. All of the sales and all the other stuff that's happening. Okay. And people spend hours in line on Black Friday, and they spend hours online, a different type of line, shopping for different opportunities. And then if they don't get everything that they want, then they're at the mall or they're online almost every day until Christmas Eve. And I say that to say, I find it amazing, amazing that people will plan, strategize, save to find that a gift, that perfect gift, that perfect outfit for New Year's Eve. They're constantly looking for perfection. But to get there, to me, a lot of time, effort, energy, focus, determination, planning, and execution go into that 1 month window. And in my mind, if people were to use just a smidgen, just a smidgen of that focus and planning and determination and execution for the 11 months of their lives, they could have, within reason, anything that they wanted to have. A nice roof over their head, a nice car, nice clothes, nice vacation, kids in school, whatever those things are that people say, man, I wish, if only. And I think there's a song out there that say, if only you knew. And what I'm saying is, we provide a lighted, maybe my people say, well, it's not lighted, it's lit. You choose. Runway, pathway, highway for people to get from where they are to where they want to be and not focus on 11 months, but they can focus on the rest of their lives.
So let me say this to everyone that's probably like, what's going on, blah blah blah. Right? Here's the deal. I think this was last week. You guys, so if you're watching live, or whatever, you can see that there's a post. Last week on Instagram, I made a post because there was a mother who was bragging about how she had went through hell and high water to get her two, I'm gonna say maybe two boys, her two children, two PlayStation 5 bundles. Okay, so for those who aren't aware, PlayStation 5, that is the newest or the coolest video game as of right now. It is anyway. It's like a it's Hank. I think it's somewhere between 500 to maybe $1,000
Yeah.
per, yeah,
I,
per
I
game,
don't
right?
I don't know. I never got a
Per
PlayStation for
console.
my kids. I never played PlayStation.
But hear me out with this, guys. I made a post on Instagram and I simply said, if only people would take the same amount of zeal and tenacity as you would to wait out in the store, like you said, Hank, wait out in the store,
Hmm.
camp out for a store, fight over gifts, save money for a PlayStation 5, drive, to, 3 cities over to the local, Best Buy or whatever for a PlayStation 5.
Hmm.
But if, God forbid, you have to invest in yourself, invest time or resources so that you can actually accomplish or buy something or invest in something that will give you dividends in the future to become a better person.
Mm,
What
mm,
will
mm.
last more over time? You being able to purchase assets, or at least knowing how to purchase assets
Mhm. Mhm.
for your children, or is it actually a PlayStation 5 that lasts more?
I think it's a better option to have the ability to than to have a PlayStation 5.
So the weird thing to me is, let the holiday season, if anything, if you don't want anything from this discussion that we're having,
Mhm.
allow the holiday season to show and prove you that people make their decisions based on emotion.
Mm, mm,
And hear me out with this.
mm,
I believe that the reason that a parent would, quote unquote, drive 3 miles, or excuse me, drive through 3 different cities to go to a local Best Buy to get 2 PlayStation 5 bundles that may be $600, $700 each. And I'm not saying the kids don't deserve it, but hear me out. I believe a parent would do that because they don't want to have embarrassment.
Leland, and I might not quote it correctly, but some time ago I heard the expression that for occasions such as this, people spend money they don't have to impress people they don't like, and then take the rest of the year to recover from that expenditure. Um, you're still running the clip from the other day, my friend.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay.
And
And I'm not saying it's bad, but again, we have to make choices, because I believe if you go out of your way to give your kids everything that they ask you for, you're spoiling them rotten and you're keeping yourself in hock, because there'll come a time that you won't be able to fulfill their expectation.
even so, it's like, if you want to fulfill your child, here's the thing. If you want to fulfill your child's expectation, that is fine. In the process, fulfill your own.
Mm,
Because at some point, as you're mentioning, Hank,
mhm.
when the child continues to come to the well, you need to make sure as a parent that you got enough water that's in the well.
But
If you're not working to put more water into the uh, the cesspool, essentially,
but
there's no
Leland,
way for you to continue to do it. And all I'm saying is this: I'm not saying don't buy presents. That's not what I'm
mhm.
saying. If you want to, fine. What I'm getting at is, many people in general, they would they would rather, quote unquote, go through hell and high water to have gifts under a tree for one day so that they can have the pride, or so they can escape embarrassment and claim that they didn't do something for their children for material gains,
You Leland,
instead of
mhm.
not realizing, if they don't take action today, that they'll be the ones in the future that will have embarrassment because they did not plant the seeds. They did not harvest the labor. They did not, quote unquote, drive into the next city over for a business deal. They did not look as diligent as they did for a PlayStation 5 for investment opportunities. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think that the PlayStation 5 will have greater dividends in a child's life than you, I don't know, building their net worth, their passive income, financial freedom,
Mm-hmm.
you're crazy.
Well, that PlayStation 5 will be a brain, not just a financial, maybe a financial drain, but it's going to be a brain drain on the child who spends 3, 4, 5 hours a day on a toy. Okay. So, say, hey, man, you guys are being harsh. No, I'm saying I grew up with tough love. We couldn't afford, we had to pick and choose, you know? Even today, I asked my adult children, I said, give me a Christmas list. Ask my grandkids, give me a Christmas list. Let me look at it. Now, prioritize the list. Just 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 prioritize the list. Now, it's up to me, based on their priority, whether I give them one thing or if it's 10 things on the list, 10 things. But for me, if I get one thing or 10 things, I'm paying something called CAS. What's the last word? H. Yeah,
H.
I'm paying cash for it. It's not in hock. And my children, they're not kids. My children understand. I think we as adults understand. We want to give, I think most of us want to give our children the best that we can afford. But sometimes we have good friends, and our good friends, you and I, we're at the gym, we playing, the young ladies are at the mall doing whatever, and we start, man, I'm gonna get my kid a PlayStation 5. Now, I don't want to appear cheap, so what do I do for my kid?
Same thing.
I go out and I get him a PlayStation 5. Or if there's a 6, I get him a 6. Or I might get him a 4, 5, and 6. I mean, we have this keeping up with the Joneses mentality. We feel that if we can't, if we don't have the latest and the greatest, that's a sign of failure. So we got to have a mindset. I think it's called a paradigm shift, and paradigm shift of our beliefs. What is your beliefs? And your beliefs, to the great degree, is based on your track record. Okay, your kids will not die if they don't get a PlayStation 5. You won't die if you don't get that Armani suit or that Rolex watch. You won't die if you're not driving a Lexus, Mercedes, or what have you. You won't die.
You won't die. And again, we're not. It's and I guess here's my thing. It's not even about the actual item.
No, it's
Like
not.
she could have went out of her way and purchased, I don't know, a watch, or maybe she could have purchased, I don't know, a movie for the kid. So it's not the gift itself. It's the amount of effort and intensity
Hmm.
and pride that goes along with pursuing that gift that hurts my heart because I know there are so many other parents that when they see things like that,
Hmm.
they immediately think, well, oh my goodness, Billy Bob got something for their child. I need to go out and do the best that I can to get for my kid. Instead
Hmm.
of saying, one of the best things I can do for my kid is to make sure that that next generation is better established than I am.
Mm, mm,
That's my only issue. Like that
mm.
should be the primary and ultimate goal is to understand that the temporary jolt or happiness or smile on that child's face
Hmm.
is irrelevant compared to the long gain of generation.
But see, Leland, I have run across. I've got some friends, and maybe you do too, and maybe those of you who are listening, and having just a conversation, and the guy, guy, I'm talking guys, and he says, "Man, listen, my family didn't give me shit, They ain't got nothing to give me, and I'm gonna be like my daddy. And they are and they are proud. They are proud of it. I know people who particularly their son turned 18. I may have mentioned this before. Once he finishes high school, they said when you graduate from high school, you getting out of this house with limited skills, and now you're thrusting them into a meat grinder. So they said, wait a minute, you started out with Christmas. No, we started out with life. Because sometimes we're short-sighted. We have a tendency to just horn in on a thing when we're talking about life, which encompasses many things, and then we worry about why we're failures. Now, we won't call ourselves failures. Okay? No one will say I'm a failure. But there are certain things that happen. There's certain things that happen that if you're realistic and if you're honest with yourself, you will realize that you have failed. I have not been a perfect dad. I have not been a perfect husband. I'm not a perfect person, but every day is a struggle to be better than I was yesterday. So we say, well, Hank, what is this? What is this failure stuff? Sometimes there's a lack of persistence that people have. They just give up too soon. There's a lack of conviction. Is it really worth it? Do I really want it? Do I really need it? Okay. Will it really make a difference? Okay. And then sometimes we have to what we have to do is rationalize. We got to choose. We got to be willing to choose. And we talk about people being wishy-washy or what have you. There's a lack of discipline in whatever it is that they do, in their planning process, in their execution process, in their decision-making process. We're not talking perfection, we're talking consistency. And Leland, one last one I'll say is, because we've all been there, and I think for men, for men, we have a sense of insecurity that manifests itself as ego. Men, you have insecurity, and it's masquerading as ego or confidence or competition. And what all those things do is it make you phony. And people who love see that. So we're talking about Christmas. We're talking about being. Leland, are you familiar with this guy named Covey?
Absolutely.
Steve Covey.
Absolutely.
You remember Covey's quadrant about this? He talks about the 7 habits of highly successful people, and and the crazy thing about it is some people will hear highly successful, and they don't consider themselves highly successful, so they won't read the book. And then we worry about why Johnny can't read. Johnny can't read because Johnny won't read. But he talks about, and I'm not going to get into the steps because people can go out and do it. But what he talks about, and he categorizes it as a time management matrix. And he's basically got 4 quadrants. In the first quadrant, I'm going to read it. He says, in the first quadrant, he says that things are important and urgent. In another quadrant, they are not urgent, but they're important. And in another category, they are not important, but they're urgent. And the last one is that they are not urgent and they're not important. And unfortunately, and what he's saying is you should spend most of your time in quadrant 1 and no time in quadrant 4 where it's not urgent and not important. A brand new car is not important to me. It's not urgent to me. So guess what? I haven't bought a brand new car. Keeping a roof over my head and planning for the future in the sense of creating a creating wealth for my kids and grandkids, that's urgent and that's important. So I don't know where you sit, not you. Those of you who are listening, I don't know where you sit. I don't know where you put your focus. I don't know where you put your priorities. I don't know that. Okay? But you said that you love your kids by going out there and going in hock all the time. Okay? But your actions speak louder. What is it? What you do speaks so loudly that I cannot hear what you said. So you got people that love you who love you, and you say that you love, and you call them names and you disappoint them, and you don't attend any events for them. There are a lot of stuff that you don't do, and you say, well, I can't afford. Well, let me help you. You can't afford not to, because you'll either pay the price now or you will pay the price later. But either way, you're gonna pay a price. So I'm not saying don't shop. I'm not saying don't give them stuff. Don't, hey, special occasions and holidays or what have you. Okay. But do what you can afford to do. Don't go in hock. Please don't go. If you continue to go in hock, you will never be able to save for the future.
Yeah. And again, it's not the gift. Like there's somebody, like, again, social media is full of people that will tend to jump to conclusions. So first off, the woman who made the post, I don't know her personally. Okay, first off. So, but I was using the post as an example. And
Mm-hmm.
again, the example is there are a lot of people that will go through hell and high water to provide a grandiose Christmas for their so-called loved ones,
Mm-hmm.
but won't even open the front door out of fear to have the same amount of energy to pursue for financial freedom for themselves. Like,
Mm.
let that sink in. Because
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing: if you loved yourself as much as you claim that you love those people that you bought the gifts for, you would actually pursue your financial freedom with the same intensity and zeal, if not more.
Yeah.
And here's why. At some point, we all get older. And,
Watch it.
and
Watch it now. Watch it.
at some point, there will be a moment where here I'll talk about my family. So, blessing that great grandmother was up in her 90s and she was literally living on her own. Okay, like didn't needed no one's help. Seriously, in the right mind, she would go to the YMCA to swim every morning on her own. Drive herself to the YMCA 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay, there are other families where because of life decisions, by the time that their great grandparent was older, he or she was not able to walk on their own. They did not have a car or a house of their own or a house that was paid off or whatever else.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it came time for a transition, they may not have thought about what could I do to best put the kids or the people behind me in a position to where when I leave, they have less to worry about. Because if you think about it, at some point, we all exit a door.
Yeah.
And if you truly do love, like the kids, for example, you got the gifts for,
Mm-hmm.
you would also think in advance and say, how can I make this less painful for them? Because once I leave, it's no longer about me anyway.
Oh man, Leland.
And that's my whole thing. Like when I saw the post and I saw people congratulating the mom for literally doing all that she could or doing all those things for her children. I was immediately upset with the fact that people don't congratulate people who actually do the things that have longevity.
But Leland, you remember I said paradigms? I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
There are people who don't really know what's really significant or what's really important, because we walk around with rose-colored glasses that we gotta change this paradigm. We think that we're gonna be here tomorrow or next week or next month, and that we will put off and put off and put off and put off, and all of a sudden there's nothing left. And you are now at a point in life where you're saying, man, I wish I had done XYZ. And I'm saying the time to do that is right now. Celebrate Christmas. Celebrate, please celebrate any small success. Celebrate, but celebrate in moderation. That's all. Just because if here's the deal, if you are not listening to us, then who are you listening to? When was the last time your posse gave you some good advice that would change your freaking life? I'm not your posse. But if you were part of my squad, we would have had this conversation or similar conversations, or we'd be doing something together. We'd be encouraging one another. We'd be fortifying one another. So again, as Maxwell said, if you show me your 5 closest friends, or 5 of your friends, I'll tell you about yourself. Celebrate, please celebrate, have fun, show love, be caring. All of those things make a difference, make a life, and you will be happier. You really, really will be happier, because all of a sudden you'll know what's really, really important. And it's not that you will become complacent or satisfied. I don't know what those things mean. I'm not complacent, but I know that I'm making a difference and I'm changing lives every freaking day. Did I set out to change lives? Hell no, because I didn't think I had anything to offer. But you have to get out of your head, because I'm positive that there is somebody that you know needs your help, that you will be a beacon of hope. You'll be a stepping stone for them. Not that you're going to step on them, but you're going to sort of like throw a little crumb here, a little nugget there, a little rock here for them to follow. And if you don't have something good to say to them about something, hey, tell them to read Covey's 7 Habits. Read Optimism. Read Strategies of Success. Read The Magic of Thinking Big, The 5 Love Languages, Personality Plus, Attitude is Everything, The Secret, or You Are What You Believe. But you remember some time ago, I said you can either read and change your life, and change your life and read. A month ago, we thought Elon Musk was the savior of the, I don't know whether we call it the internet or the tech world or what have you. And I don't have anything against Musk, but he has lost almost a third of his value in less than 6 months. He made a bad investment with Twitter, and he's paying the price. And he's having to sell Tesla stock to buttress his investment with Twitter. And he stepped on it, and people telling him to step down of being the CEO. So he's out now looking for somebody. And I got news for you. If I was qualified, I would not work for him, because he doesn't know how to treat people. Now, that's my personal opinion, because he says he won't need me. So why would you go someplace, hang out with someone who doesn't need you?
And just real quick, because we live in a capitalist society, we put a high value on this thing that we call currency or money,
Mm, mm, mm.
specifically the U.S. dollar. And I want people to really get away from the idea that if someone accumulates a net worth, it is a reflection of them as a good person. It
Hmm.
is not a reflection of someone being
There's
a
no
good person.
correlation.
There's no
That
correlation.
there's no correlation.
The only thing you can attribute that to is that is someone who did a good job collecting money,
Hmm. Or
maybe motivating people.
scamming people.
Yeah, that could be one too. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
but there's no correlation that because someone obtained large amounts of money in a capitalist society, that they are some type of savior or even necessarily like an example to follow behind. That's not what that means. It just means that
Mm.
they did very well in a capitalist society collecting money. So hopefully, and this is like my irritation with it. The rose colored glasses that you mentioned, Hank,
Hmm.
it plays such a factor in what people view and then therefore what they do.
Mm, mm, mm. Amen.
Because we have a lot of good-hearted, good individual people who are really good, and even people who are good at what they do. But because of the way that they may view themselves, they never take the action that is necessary, not knowing that if they did take that action, if they did take that leap of faith, so to
Hmm.
speak, that they would actually help more people.
Well, but see, it takes humility to help people, Leland.
It does, but it also takes self-confidence to believe that
Oh, yeah.
you have something of value to offer other people.
But I can admit that sometimes you don't know if you have anything to offer.
But you got to be willing.
You got to be willing. Just offer yourself and be genuine. I started to say be unique, but just be genuine.
Be
made me
genuine.
think of made me think of a joke, but that's all right. I'll tell that another time. Leland,
So
yes, sir.
we'll,
Please
we will
help us. Yeah, wrap it up for us, please.
we will end here. And here is, if I could put a nice little bow on this, here's all I'll say. There's nothing wrong with people celebrating the holiday season, quote unquote holiday season. That is fine. All we ask is that the same amount of intent, attention, zeal, and effort that one puts together to planning a family meal or to planning how to put gifts under a tree, we just ask that you put the same amount of zeal and effort the other 11 months out of the year
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
for your future and for your loved ones.
Never be satisfied with the status quo.
Have a good day, guys.
As we said, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, and any